Welcome to Adeptus On-Air, the show where we examine how individuals and companies make decisions that drive their business and personal success. Each week, we connect with notable professionals who pull back the curtain on the industries that Adeptus has been on the cutting edge of for the last 30 years, including music, sports, and entertainment, as well as new emerging markets. And welcome to our latest edition of Adeptus On-Air. And today we have a special guest in Shawn Harper, the WINologist, which I told him off air. I just absolutely love that nickname, the WINologist. That's kind of a play between the science of winning and just the act of winning. So I love that. So Shawn is a CEO of over 20 years, focused on creating winning cultures, which is something that's very important and often discussed in the business world. And Shawn, so very much thanks for joining us on Adeptus On-Air.
Hey, thank you for having me. Let's go. Let's win. And it's really interesting that you use the word winning culture. So in addition to playing professional sports, I've been and I'm currently a CEO of a security firm. I have about 100 employees. And so, I talk to other CEOs on various levels, and I kind of laugh because to myself, obviously, because they mention words like culture and win and teamwork. And I'm like, you guys don't have a clue. You don't have a clue. It's like, so, yeah. And so you had mentioned the word winologist. Uh, Basically, it is the science and the study of winning and winners. And I've been able to, I didn't have a, really, long NFL career, but while I was in the game, man, I studied other winners and I watched them, and they did things a little bit different. So I was able to now infuse that into the corporate space as well.
That's awesome. And just right off the bat, and we'll jump around a little bit, but just tell me what a winning culture is to you. What does that mean, whether it's meshing the sports and the business world or one or the other, however you want to break it down, what to you defines a winning culture?
Oh, wow, man. Man. Okay. I got to go macro to get to the micro, if that's
Gotcha.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I was probably the least likely individual to make it to the professional ranks. Yeah, I wasn't even honorable mention all conference. I was the guy who got the dreaded participation trophy. I think I still have that trophy. That is like this guy was all state, all city, all county, all intergalactic universe first team. And then there's me. It's like Shawn Harper. It was crazy. On top of that, I was challenged with having about 4 documented learning disabilities. I left high school with a 1.62 cumulative GPA, not on my ACT. Graduated last in my class in academics, obviously, from a single parent background. I stuttered my entire. I mean, I could not complete a sentence till college. And people would ask me questions just so that I could stutter, so that they can get their laugh. And my fear was being asked to go to the board or write something down. And trust when I tell you that what I'm sharing with you is the edited version. There's tons. There's a lot of adversity. But one thing I've learned is that adversity can break you, but it also can make you a record breaker. And I get a phone call from a junior college, a 2-year school in Mason City, Iowa, to come play football. I'm trying to figure out why the heck you guys want me to come to Iowa to play football. But something, something in me spoke. It was like the dream. That dream spoke like go. And it's crazy because there was nothing on the outside that validated the potential and the ability on the inside. I mean, in fact, I failed 2 football physicals. They said, you can't play football, period. And so my coach sent me to his friend who was a doctor, which I found out later, and he passed me. But so I go to this junior college, and the first year in Mason City, Iowa, I sit the bench the entire season, not one play. And I'm about to give up. And then I have this conversation. And the conversation is, you're right. I'm yelling to the air. You're right. I can't be successful. I don't have what it takes. I have all the excuses in the world. It's so easy for me just to lean on the learning disabilities. By the way, I'm not disabled. I'm uniquely enabled, right? But it's like, but I said something that changed my life. It said, but I can win. And the moment I said I can win this game of life, I begin to look at life differently. I begin to see obstacles as opportunities. I begin to, just just really transcend and break down life into a strategy game that I was going to win. And what I found out later is that a winning mindset, and not even a mindset, a winning mind shift encompasses all of you. You see, all actions stem from thoughts. All thoughts are from your belief systems. And that's where about 90% of all success teachers stop at. But there's one more level deeper, and that's what's called your self concept.
Mm.
And I replaced the self concept of failure, stupid, dumb, lazy, underachiever, and I inserted the word winner. And I was able to nail that reality because I said, I am one of 90 million sperm cells. I'm the one that fertilized the egg. So I'm a winner. And then that got into my subconscious. And so now I moved out of creation and I move into something much more powerful, much more powerful, much more powerful. And that's manifestation. And I begin to live life from the inside out. So I use that for sports. I used it for my marriage. I used it for business. And so now when I talk to people, it's I am encouraging, manifesting, and creating a winning culture from the inside out. And so I deal with not as much as the applications of individuals, the applications and the processes. I deal with the individual and the crux and the core that's what's inside of them. And when
Oh,
everyone's working towards that, now we have a winning culture versus a success culture.
wow. Wow. That's powerful. That's extremely powerful and extremely informative. And there's a lot to unpack there. I think one thing I want to delve into because there may be some some people out there in our audience, or at least maybe maybe they're parents and dealing with children. You mentioned at least four diagnosed learning disabilities. What were they? How
I
did you?
remember one thing. Okay, hold on. Uh, it was a form of a severe form of dyslexia.
Mm,
One was rote memorization.
okay.
The other one was spatial recognition, shapes and these triangles, and put them in like what the heck. And then a, there was attention deficit deal. And I mean, I kind of glossed over what I just said about being uniquely enabled.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it, it's oftentimes school. School has a very narrow,
Regimented.
yeah, and it's like this is what you have to have. This is who you are, and if you exist outside of that, you're not intelligent. And if you exist within it, then you are intelligent. And they exclude so many groups of individuals that have like genius potential, and they walk
Yes.
around with D's and F's on their test, and their head is down, and they feel oppressed and they feel depressed, and it's you know could be further from the truth. I mean, everybody has strength and everyone has weaknesses. It's the
Yeah.
individuals that recognize it and can harvest it from themselves and other individuals. Those are the ones that go on and change the world. I mean, Superman has kryptonite, right?
Yep.
But you don't hear Superman saying, "Oh my God, there's kryptonite over there, Batman." No,
Yeah.
it's like, no,
Yep.
it's like, no, this okay. I'm going to staff my weaknesses. I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to focus on my strength.
Yep. You're exactly right. Because it's something I kind of, even in my life, I focus on the things that make me big, not that make me small, And
Right.
I
And
think,
and 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 as you get older, be mindful of people who who tend to encourage you to focus on your lack.
mm, yeah,
Dangerous.
yeah,
Dangerous to be around people that constantly either passively or overtly belittle you and to have you focus on your weakness.
wow. I
Because
never thought about that.
right, change, man, one of the keys of life is the law of focus.
Yep.
So it's like if you're always focusing on what you don't have, you will always manifest what you don't have.
Correct. Correct.
Love the people that can see your weakness and cover your weakness and push you in your strength.
It's a great point. That's a great point. Something that I noticed, I'll tell you a quick story. So before I got into the tax business, I was a sports reporter. And two of the best leaders that I covered were Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh,
Mm,
Steelers coach and Ravens
mm,
coach, just for the audience out there. and they had two different styles. They're still coaching today. They're two of the longest tenure coaches, I think, after Bill Belichick right now.
Mhm.
And John Harbaugh would get to know me, wanted to talk to me, meet with me, we talk, and he'd get to know me from a personal level just so we can kind of, bond on that. And I can kind of sense that's how he treated his players. Tomlin would get to know something about you that he could kind of, that he sees that's unique. And he would, make a joke about it or make, just kind of constantly, kind of find a way to pick at you to kind of say, okay, look, we're cool in this way, blah, blah, blah. But it was two different ways of leadership, but it was both of those guys' way of getting to know me. And I'm sure that's how they had to get to know hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of players and why they're still there in those leadership positions. I guess that's a long-winded way of me asking you, what did you see in your sports career from different leaders? Some coaches may have been good, some coaches may have been, not so good, etc. That you were able to kind of translate into the business world as a CEO.
So, wow, I would lean more towards college,
Mm-hmm.
and probably one of the greatest coaches, I mean, yeah, probably one of the greatest coaches was a guy named Bill Mallory.
Mm.
He was good friends with a guy named Bo Schembechler,
Oh yeah, legend.
and they both coached under a guy named Woody Hayes at Ohio
Wow,
State.
wow.
And Coach Mallory, there's a phrase that says, I can soon learn to do it if you let me see it done. I can watch your hand in motion, but your tongue too fast may run. Right? Living your creed. And he he was a man's man, and he connected with me in the form of a father,
Mm,
which is huge because a lot of kids, they don't have fathers. Even when they have fathers, they don't have fathers,
mm,
right? And it's
mm.
so amazing because every young man wants a father, period. And if you can flow into that vein of having integrity, of having trust, of having self respect and honor, small things, knowing every player's name, things like that to develop the trust, honor, and respect. If you can slide into that vein as the father figure to a young individual, and he receives that, he will march through hell for you.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what he was able to do
Wow,
as a leader of
wow,
men. Yeah.
wow. And that's one of to me, just in covering sports and just seeing things. That's one of the hardest things to do is to be a leader of men. I wanted to ask you. I'm sure you've hired and fired people before, in your career as CEO, and so I'm curious from your spot, how do you uh, how do you gauge talent versus character? Ideally, people will have both, but I'm sure there's some employees that might have been lacking in one and excelling in the other, or vice versa. How do you gauge that from the business standpoint? You see it in sports all the time. The super talented player that may not, may be a bit disgruntled and disrupts the chemistry of the team, things like that. But that can also happen in business on, a less public level as well. So how do you gauge talent versus character from a
I
CEO
do it.
perspective?
I do it from the inside out.
Mhm.
So there's one more thing that I look at. Okay. So I use the three C's. So you have credentials. Okay. I can do the job. Great. Okay. The next C is character, which you talk about, which is great. Well, I have, ethics and morals, and, there's things I won't do, and that's fine. But there's one more C that I use that kind of trumps all the other C's, and that's the core of a person. What's their heart like? What's their heart like? And, and I tell you what, if I find a person that has a good heart. He means well. He wants to do the right thing. I can take over the world with that person. See,
Interesting.
you can have great character. I got good character, and another job opportunity come along, and I put in my 2 week notice. I was honorable. I did my job. If you,
Yeah.
you know? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Or I mean, it's no, 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 no. What is what is your core? Let me give you an example. Take and I mean, I hate to use this. Okay, you know what? I won't use a war example. Um,
Might be a bit sensitive right now at this time with
yeah,
what's going
exactly,
on.
exactly. No, no, no.
Yeah.
So let's just say when I was growing up, and I'll be very vague about this. Um, we, there are certain activities that we need to know what your heart was like.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a
Mm-hmm.
snitch?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are you going to talk? You
Yep.
know, are you going
Yep.
to stand by your word? That's a
Yeah.
heart issue. So
Yeah.
you take a person that has a good heart, okay, and most important, a heart for you and a heart for the organization, and they
Yeah.
want to do the right thing. I can build on top of that. You
Wow.
take a person with a shady heart, you can have great character and a shady heart. You can
Mm-hmm.
have great credentials and shady character. Okay. But your heart, man, it's your heart. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. The heart is probably the most underestimated organ because it has the ability to emit frequencies and it has the ability to manifest. You
Wow.
got to be very careful dealing with a person with a corrupt heart. They're dangerous.
Wow. Wow.
And they will hide behind their credentials and they will hide
Mm,
behind their character. But there's one level, and you got to know the heart, especially when you get into leadership. The closer a person gets to you,
yeah.
like there was a very famous food brand, and his like inner circle was amazing, and the guys had amazing character. But there was one little slip up in his contract, and the partners, the distributors, saw that slip up, saw the loophole, and stole his company. Ethically,
Wow.
good character. I did the right thing. It wasn't illegal.
Wow. Wow. I'm sure those kind of things happen in business all the time.
Every day.
How do you how do you screen for that? You know, in my position, I don't have to worry about that as much, but I'm curious at the highest level as a person making a decision, how do you screen for something that deep, that kind of depth?
Listen,
Hmm.
you got to listen for it. It's just something that you will hear when the application process and you're talking to the person. Where, where are they talking from?
Yeah.
Okay, are they talking from their head? Are they talking from their emotions? Are they talking from their heart? So when you hear things like, man, I can't turn my back on this situation. I am honorable. When I hear things like that, when I hear words like honor, and just stick to itness and grit, okay, see it through. All that's from the heart.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
that is from the heart. And I'm like, okay, tell me a time when you were betrayed and what did you do? It hurt me. Well, it wouldn't hurt you as much if you're not a person that leads from the heart with character.
Good point.
If
Yeah.
you say things like, well, they did what was right and they were legally right, so okay, whoa, got a problem
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
Stuff
Yeah.
like that. You just hear it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so a good learning experience for sure. What do you feel is the biggest roadblock to building a winning culture?
You know what? There is each in each and every individual, there's a desire to win.
Mhm.
Okay. So all you sports people out there, listen to me. Sports is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Now, you may have a favorite team, and I know you all sing fans. And I don't care how good you are and how much they love you. Y'all lose about 2 or 3 winning seasons after they fire the coach. Ain't nobody wearing that paraphernalia.
Yep.
Think about it. Now,
Yep.
they don't throw it away,
Just in
and
case.
they don't. burn it, but they're not going to wear it unless you're a Cleveland fan, and you'll still wear it regardless, right? But I mean, they're just like fanatical, right? But no, you're not going to wear it because you cannot identify with losing.
Mm,
Okay,
mhm.
gaming is a multi-billion-dollar industry because everyone is searching for the win. Gambling, everyone is searching. They built Vegas in the desert. Everyone is searching for the win. So now, when you get to corporate America, you know, I mean, let me digress. You got 53 players on an NFL roster, 53 plus players, and they all, I mean, you ain't seen egos, but yet everyone comes together because the desire to win is so huge. I've seen players like, man, I'm leaving this team because
Mm,
I hate to lose, bro. I hate to lose. It's
yeah,
that win. So now all of a sudden, let's bring that into corporate America. And as a leader, to develop a culture, you have to find a common win, and you have to elevate the win that everyone can buy into that win. Now that is the crux of teamwork. Now that is the crux of accountability. It is the foundation of so much of leadership because everyone is shooting towards the win. Now, what we do in corporate America, other people do, is that, we talk about success. This is success, and that is kind of ambiguous
yeah,
because success in Ohio, where I'm from, if I got like 5 million, I'm doing good
yeah.
in Ohio,
You're right.
you know, but 5 million in Dubai might get you a weekend,
Yeah,
might get you a month. That's not all it's gonna get you, right?
yeah, yep, yep.
But the win is different. So
Mm,
now you build a culture that says, I need to tap into everybody's win, and they need to buy into this.
love it.
Hello? I'm sorry.
No, no, all good, all good. No, I love that. Buying into the overall win, but also tapping into each person's
Right.
individual win. That's
And and a lot of people get frustrated when they feel that they're not winning.
very true.
They get in the late 40s, 50s, like, you know what, I'm not winning. And I know I'm not winning. But they can't put their finger on it.
Yep,
But something's wrong. I'm not winning. Yeah.
yep.
Chances are you're not.
Right. Wow, wow. You mentioned Ohio. I actually lived in Columbus, Ohio for about 3 years. Bexley to be exact. I don't know if you're familiar with Bexley.
My
Um,
mom scrubbed floors in Bexley.
get out of here.
Yeah.
Wow.
She scrubbed floors in Bexley. We My wife and I live up in Westerville.
Westerville, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's a nice town. I was just
Yeah.
going to ask you about Columbus, Ohio. Just um, how was your upbringing there, and are you still there? I
Yeah.
don't.
I'm
Okay.
I'm I'm there. I'm here right now. Yeah, so it was about six of us, and my mom raised all six of us by herself. As I mentioned, she scrubbed floors in affluent neighborhoods, and to kind of help make ends meet. So yeah, it was really challenging. It was fun though. It was great.
Yeah,
Uh, Pre cell phone and texting, like we have adventures all day. But yeah, it was
that's
challenging.
that's awesome. I'm curious in terms of business. How has business changed in the 20 plus years that you entered, 25 plus years that you entered it to now? And change could be however you want to define it.
Yeah.
It could,
So there's not so much in change, there's a change in people.
yeah.
Okay. Ma'am, of course, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but it's all right. I think people are a lot softer.
Hmm.
And the reason why people are softer is because parents like us, we kind of shield our kids from the bumps and bruises of life. Like when
Mm,
I was growing up, uh, you know, a school bully, you had to deal with that. Of
yeah.
course, you would run home and then you develop social skills and coping skills and this and this. And finally, your mom would make you fight the individual, whatever, and then you become friends and you would fight and you become friends. There was so much of coping and navigating and negotiating and talking and but nowadays a lot of that is done through this, right?
Yep.
So there is no emotional strengthening, and till one day, you know, the kid or the individual is hit with adversity or hit with, you got to use grit, and they're not used to it. They're like, what in the world is this? So they avoid it. Instead of running into the wind, they run from the wind, and it's
Mhm.
made them softer, period.
Yeah. And perseverance is such a key trait in adulthood, just to be able
Yeah.
to persevere through, small, medium, and big challenges. It happens routinely. You got to power through. So yeah, that's
You know what it's
awesome.
like? It's like a person, it's like a young man who's never had his heart broke.
Mm.
And he's like 32.
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on, man, let's get this done in the 10th grade, bro,
Yeah.
because it will change you. It will change you. Don't wait till you're 32. It's going to be kind of tough when you're 32, but
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. No, that's a really, really good comparison. Does that change your approach as a CEO? Do you have a different approach 20 years ago, 25 years ago than you do now, considering that people have changed, or do you stick the same and look for the certain DNA that you've always looked for?
So I, I've, I've, I've taken a totally different approach, and behind their ability to cope and manage stress, at the end of the day, I'm dealing with people.
Hmm.
And there's four basic temperaments. And learning how to understand the basic temperaments of an individual. Then I do research on stuff like Maslow's charts of hierarchical needs. And at the end of the day, I talk to the core of the individual. Everyone wants to be accepted. Everyone wants to be included. Everyone wants to be challenged. Now I have to admit that I love to hire former athletes
Yeah.
because I talk to them right in that vein. Like, hello, sir, who'd you play for? Texas A&M. Great. What position? That's the first.
Oh yeah.
When I find out that you played football, I'm like, what position did you play?
Yep.
Because,
Explain why.
well,
I think I know where you're heading, but for the audience,
well,
explain.
a defensive tackle is more aggressive.
Hmm.
That individual is more like, let's go, I'm gonna do this and this and this and blah blah. Okay, okay. So now I can challenge you, I can talk to you, I can push you in that way. An offensive lineman is controlled chaos. All right. Now I know how to actually deal with you. A lot of linebackers are amazing leaders. All right. Boom. I can talk to you that way. Receivers are a certain way. Quarterbacks are a certain way. So every position on the field, oftentimes they're different,
Interesting.
and I can I can navigate you. I mean, even down to if you are a Sam linebacker or a Will linebacker. Once I find out you play football, I want to know. Like,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
What's the difference between the Sam and the Will? I mean, I know the positions, but personality wise.
A Sam to me is more aggressive. It's more in your face. Let's
Hmm.
go. Um, I'm the tip of the spear.
Yep.
If the running back is coming this way, I will force the cutback.
Mm.
Will linebackers are more patient, they're more calculating, and they see things different.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
Interesting. I'm turning that into a business perspective. That's
yeah.
interesting.
Like
Yeah.
versus the one technique out of all the defensive linemen, the one technique is the most unselfish
Mm.
because I mean, he's not going to make the majority of tackles, but guess what?
Yeah.
He knows that his linebackers, I'm gonna I'm gonna clog up the center and the left guard because my
Yep.
linebacker's scraping and
Yep.
he coming, and I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna celebrate him versus a left tackle who is all they're very cerebral, deep
Mhm.
thinking to themselves. very
Hmm.
protective. They're almost not even an offensive lineman
Yep.
because think they think totally like inclusive. They're really deep thinkers. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm thinking some of the great left tackles I covered. Joe Thomas was one of them. Yep.
Hmm.
He fit the mold of that.
Yeah, they're
Wow.
just different. Will Wolford was like that.
Hmm.
It's just they're they're different. They're
Wow.
different, totally
That's
different.
that's an interesting perspective. I mean, I learned a lot being in NFL locker rooms, particularly
Isn't it
with,
crazy? It's crazy.
yeah, yeah. It's
I'm not. That was the
yeah,
best time for me.
yep, yep. Hey, just give your take on NFL locker rooms. I mean, I,
You know what? It's never never in life will you ever have another opportunity to be around a bunch of type A personalities
Mhm.
who are competing on the field, sometimes competing with you, yet having fun with you,
Yep.
pushing you, challenging you. It's a different level. I don't want to use the word intimacy, but it's a different level of being vulnerable to go through the greatest ups and the greatest lows. Like
Yeah.
somebody got their butt tore off a frame in practice or had a
Mhm.
horrible game. And it's like, it's just the energy in that. That develops a bond. I, I would actually rival the locker room bond just as strong as on the playing field.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. I can see that. The thing that I always found interesting, just to share a quick story, is that
But
all the players in the locker room were the best of the best, top 1 or 2% in
yeah,
the world of playing football. Yet, even in that top 1 or 2%, there was a hierarchy, and you might have been the third string linebacker, even though are in the top 2% in the entire world. In this particular locker room, you're the third string linebacker who may or may not make the team or could be gone tomorrow. And some players couldn't handle, you know, not being the best of the best, which they were in college, which they were, in Pop Warner in
mhm,
high school and everything. They come to the pros, and all of a sudden they're backups, or they're not, one of the top five players on the team, and it's an ego shot,
yeah.
But, going from being the best player on your team everywhere you went to all of a sudden now you're kind of just a guy, in a
Have
way.
my helmet, rookie.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
You know what was so amazing to me is the transfer, is the transferring mantle of leadership.
Mm,
So the teams that I played on, the leader in the locker room might not have been the leader on the football field.
yeah, yeah, you're right.
So usually, it was an older offensive lineman or a defensive lineman who
Hmm.
kind of ran like when I was with the Rams, there was a guy named Jackie Slater.
Oh yeah, Hall of Famer.
God, God. His nickname, I was like, why do y'all call him the judge? Right? He was the judge. I'm like, what is that? Till one day I saw it. One day, I'll tell you the story. One day I saw it, man. So I think one of the rookies was like Grooms, supposed to bring some donuts. Right? We're supposed to bring donuts every morning, right?
Hmm.
Donuts and orange juice. Two things of orange juice and some fresh donuts.
Hmm.
And there was a guy, I think his name was Kevin Green. Kevin Green.
Okay, another Hall
And
of Fame.
Cruz thought that he could bring donuts the night before and pick them up and have them in the trunk ready to go.
Oh.
Oh, they're not afraid. So I don't know, either did Kevin Green or Newberry, somebody took a bite of that donut, man. He yelled. He was like, "Hear ye!" And the moment that happened, it was it was as if this rookie was on trial,
Wow.
and it was a real setup. You had the prosecutor, you had the attorney, you
Oh,
had you had the
def
the
defended.
defendant, you had the bailiff, and it was like you are on trial.
Wow.
It was such an amazing conflict resolution because I mean it was real suits. Like I want to need I need to use your car. I need like $10,000. I need to. I mean, and you paid up. You paid up. And
Wow.
and one of the ultimate punishments is that they would just dump you in the whirlpool. They would just they
Oh.
just. But yeah, he was the judge. But that locker room, man, it was just
It's
wow.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing, and you can't duplicate that. You know,
You cannot.
it's
I mean,
hard.
yeah, like where else are you going to find a bunch of type A? A lot of these guys are multimillionaires.
Yep.
He's in the locker room. Um, I don't want to use the word physically naked, but just exposed in their weaknesses and their sad moments, um,
Yep.
happy moments. It was just, man, I loved it. I loved it.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. It's incredible stories, man. That's great. Both of us got to spend. I mean, you spent it as a player, but I was in
Yeah.
there at times as a reporter. We got our whatever 45 minutes a day. We got to spend in there, but you were in there for hours. Um, what are your goals? Just as next 5 or 10 years. What are your goals going forward? Let's just keep it at a 5 year plan. Like, where do you see Shawn Harper in your businesses and your goals and your speaking engagements and everything in the next five
So
years?
I'm a speaker. Uh, I love to speak. I love to invest, but I'm transitioning now into leadership development coaching and courses. I mean, actual conferences. I'm actually putting together a conference for uh, individuals, leadership, and I'll talk to you about that off the air.
Yeah.
Uh, but I am, I'll probably will have a conference probably June of next year. It's somewhere in Texas, about 500 or 600,
Wow.
individuals, and shared the message of winning because a lot of people don't win. You know,
Yep.
success teaches you production, winning teaches reproduction, and you can take a success approach in your finances. You can take a winning approach in your finances.
Mm.
How to understand passive income, understand setting up as irrevocable trust for your real estate to carry over and this and just those are winning strategies
Yeah.
versus success strategies. Having a simple will, well, that's success, but you can
Yeah.
things like that, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Sean, where can we find where can the audience find your social
Yeah,
channels, your information, your website, pass it
I'll
along
just
so
give you
everybody
like
can.
three of them, right? Because I want everyone to like me on on well, Facebook is winning by design. That's what the actual uh, conference is going to be called. Thank. It's winning by design. My Instagram, which is it's Shawn Harper ShawnHarper. Shawn Harper wins.
Huh?
Nope, I'm sorry. Instagram is Shawn Harper Speaker.
Got you. And we'll
S
put
H
in the
A
show notes.
yeah, yeah, ShawnHarper Speaker, and then my website is Shawn Harper Wins.
Awesome. And we'll put everything in the show notes so everyone can see. And
Yeah,
Sean, man, you are awesome and amazing. This has been great. And thanks for being our latest guest on Adeptus On Air. Again, everybody check out Shawn Harper on all the social channels that he had mentioned and his conference coming next year. We'll make sure to put it in the notes. And thank you for checking out our latest podcast.
Thanks for listening to Adeptus On Air. If you like this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. If you have a question related to this episode or have a request for what you would like to hear, please email us at marketing@adeptuscpas.com. You can also find us at adeptuscpas.com online or follow us at Adeptus on social media. The views and opinions by the podcast speakers and guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Adeptus. This podcast provides general information only and is not intended to constitute advice.